Friday from 3:05 to 4 on 14 WILI and 95.3 FM. It's the Friday Sports Scene with Keith and Koivisto. Talking local sports every Friday, getting you ready for the weekend and what lies ahead. High school sports, UConn, ECSU, and more. The Friday Sports Scene with Keith and Koivisto is brought to you by your local Dunkin' stores. Route 32 South Windham, 1015 Main Street, Willimantic, 1575 West Main Street, and 407 Jackson Street. The Friday Sports Scene. Now, here's Keith C. Rice and Jan Koivisto.
Thank you, Eddie Bishop. Sorry, Matt, about the levels there. Should I have to back off week to week? So next time I do it, should I start doing it from back here?
Yeah, probably.
All right. What is this, like week, about week 8 that we've done this? I should know not to lean on the microphone. I'm thanking Eddie Bishop. Let's try it from back here. Thank you. Better? Okay.
Better.
All right, I'll remember that for next week. Welcome into Happy New Year. Happy New Year to J-Matt Rupor, Nick Erlinson. Jan Koivisto unable to make it this week. Welcome to 2026, the first Dunkin' Friday Sports Scene for 2026. Hope you had a great holiday and New Year. And here we are for January 2nd, back at it after a week off. It was the day after Christmas. I think we're all, coming down from the holidays and needed a week to catch our breath and watch some of these boring bowl games. Holy smokes. 3 games yesterday. You thought at least most of them would be entertaining. 2 out of 3 were terrible. We'll get to that. Let's do the rundown, and we'll jump right into things here. We'll start with the Windham High boys basketball team off to a 1-3 start. They play at Woodstock tomorrow at 1. Whips coming off a 61-46 loss to Coventry on Monday. Windham Tech boys lost to E.O. Smith in the Ron Pires tournament final, 74-67. They lost to E.O. Smith back on Tuesday. Tech was 2-2 heading into today. Waiting on a text from our friend Billy O'Connor, who's the AD, because Windham Tech had an 11 a.m. game this morning against Lyman. So hopefully by the time we sign off at 4 o'clock, we'll have a Windham Tech Lyman final. E.O. Smith boys, as mentioned, topped Windham Tech on Tuesday behind 5 threes from Cam Belanger, son of Jeff Belanger, who was another guest here, the E.O. Smith coach. Smith plays at East Hartford tonight, who I've been told, Jeff said earlier in a text, that East Hartford's a very good team. So good luck to the E.O. Smith boys at East Hartford, 6:45 this evening. Smith is 3-1 overall, 1-1 in the CCC. As I just mentioned, Lyman boys, we're waiting on its score. If they beat Windham Tech, they played Windham Tech at 11 o'clock this morning. Earlier this week, they were drubbed by Ledyard, 76-39. And as, of course, mentioned, Coventry, all these local teams playing each other. Coventry beat Windham, as I said earlier, 61-46. On the girls' side, Windham lost to Farmington. The Whips, the Windham girls off to a tough start. They're starting the new year at 0-6, surprisingly, after a trip to the state finals last year and being very competitive. They'll get back on track. Windham lost to Farmington on Tuesday, 51-44. They don't play again until January 9th at NFA. Windham Tech girls are home against Waterford Monday at 6. E.O. Smith girls home for East Hartford at 6:45 this evening. So you got the Smith boys at East Hartford, the Smith girls home for East Hartford. Lyman girls' next game is Tuesday, January 6th at St. Bernard. That'll be a 6 o'clock tip. Coventry girls, they've been a powerhouse, along with the volleyball team. They lost their first game of the season back on Monday, 62-56 at Rocky Hill. They play again Monday at home against Canton. ECSU men's hoops off to a 9-1 start. How about the Eastern men? Julian Sanchez of Windham High has been on fire and huge for the Warriors. He's coming off a 19-point, 15-rebound performance against Nichols in that Eastern Holiday Invitational. Warriors host UMass Boston tomorrow at 3 at Geisler Gym. ECSU women are 4-6, and they play before the men tomorrow at 1 against UMass Boston. UConn, the 4th-ranked Huskies. Next up for them will be Marquette coming to Gamble on Sunday at 2, 1:30 here on WILI. The UConn men are 13-1 overall, 3-0 in the Big East. Top-ranked UConn women are 14-0, and of course unbeaten in the conference. They'll take on 10-4 Seton Hall tomorrow at noon in Hartford. That's a noon tip, so 11:30 a.m. pregame on WILI. Speaking of the UConn women, we'll have a longtime friend on, and he'll talk UConn men as well. Originally supposed to be Bob Joyce. Bob Joyce, of course, another longtime friend. Mark Sudol, another, not only another longtime friend, but a former WILI and UConn alum. Mark Sudol is a reporter down at News 12 in Norwalk now. He's like, kind of reminds you of Jim Carrey a little, this guy. He's very funny. He's also a UConn alum. He'll be joining us at 3:35 to talk some Husky hoops. And before that, at 3:15, we'll have the great Marty Gomez on, longtime Lyman baseball coach, among other things at Lyman. He just announced his retirement. So we're going to have Coach Gomez on at 3:15. CFP, college Final Four, college football playoff Final Four is set. No Ohio State, excuse me, no Bama, no Georgia. It'll be Miami and Ole Miss next Thursday night in the Fiesta Bowl. And then Friday night, Oregon and Indiana in the Peach Bowl. So you get some fresh blood in there. And the national championship is Monday night, January 19th. Big thanks to our local Dunkin' stores, Route 32 in South Wyndham. Hello to Caitlin, a.k.a. Scarface, Jazzy, a.k.a. Jay Drizzy. Little inside thing there. Big props to the South Wyndham crew there. Of course, Jerry Jose, big-time local sports enthusiast who's a big responsible for getting this Dunkin' Friday sports scene off the ground. So hello to Jerry as well. Willimantic locations, 407 Jackson Street, 1015 Main Street, and 1575 West Main Street. Check out the $6 meal deal, the berry sangria refreshers. I got to try those. Made primarily with green tea and lemonade, and those bacon jam sandwiches. You've heard me talk about that, Nick.
Yeah, those are delicious.
Aren't they amazing?
Yes.
Be careful, they'll drip all over your pants. You got to make sure you have some napkins on your lap and stuff like that. So check out the bacon jam sandwiches. The Dunkin' Friday, the Friday sports scene runs on Dunkin'. So big thanks to our local Dunkin' stores. J-Matt Rupar, of course, on the other side, and the Dunkin' Friday sports scene always takes you right into Homegrown, which happens right after 4. Connecticut Music Base Show. And what do you got coming up on Homegrown on this January the 2nd, man?
Let me take a look here. I got Bill Dougal coming up. You know Bill Dougal, right? He did a caricature of Wayne.
Chris Beaudry had him on once,
Yeah,
right?
Chris Beaudry, John Murphy.
All right.
He's made the scene. And, of course, Bill Naughton Jr. again.
He's making because we're getting ready for his.
Yeah, that's kind of why.
I know.
I don't know.
We think back in the day with Willie J, maybe making his debut. Well, I should say he worked here back in the 70s. But there is a possibility Monday, January 5th, at just after 2, we think back in the day Willie J could be. I'm excited about that if it does happen. So we think it's happening. Matt and I were talking about that before the show. But all right, here we go. Happy New Year. Did you have a good holiday?
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, Nick Erlinson here. We'll tell you got any. How was your Christmas? How was your New Year? By the way, is it New Year's or New Year? You know when people go Happy New Year's, Happy New Year. It's singular, right? Happy New Year.
Yes, unless you stay up for all 4 ball drops like I did, then you get multiple New Years.
I love it. Yeah, then you could say Happy New Year's.
Yes.
All 4 ball drops.
Yep, I'm in 2029 right now. So.
Wow. What do you see in 2029? We're still doing this show?
Yep.
Really?
Yep. Things are looking a little better, but...
Are you doing the show solo in 2029? Am I still alive?
Yep, we almost lost you, though. You had a coughing fit in 2028. But
2028, I had another one?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Anyway, okay, so did you really watch 4 ball drops?
Yes.
Well, get into that a little.
Well, I was watching... I don't remember what I was watching. And
you don't remember what you were watching? Sounds like a great night.
Yeah, I fell asleep for about a half hour, and then my body said that was good enough, and couldn't get back to sleep till probably after about 4:30. I think I finally went to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what your body. You know, my body does the same thing. Like I fell asleep. My wife and I went out to dinner, at Fenton River Grill on New Year's Eve. It was like 5:30, 6 o'clock. We got home about 8 or so. I was passed out by 9. Because I was doing the early shift this week, and I was in for Wayno, and I did news for John. I was passed out by 9. Next thing I know, I woke up at 10 of 12. I didn't know it was 10 of 12. So I was walking to bed, and my wife goes, well, there's 10 minutes to go. You might as well just watch the ball. I said, oh, it's 10 of 12? Watch the ball, and I was passed out right after that. So that's it. You'll find out. You know, I'm 8 years older than you, something like that?
I don't know, something like that.
Just keeping track at this point. All right, so do we have him locked in? Yes. All right, J-Matt Rupar, thank you. Let's welcome in the welcome into the Dunkin' Friday sports scene, the longtime baseball coach. Were you athletic director at one point, too?
Yeah, Keith, I was AD for 23 years.
I should have remembered.
Yeah. 23 years, yeah, until I burnt out.
23 years athletic director, but how many years baseball coach?
38.
38 years as baseball coach, 23 years as athletic director. Let's welcome in, first time here on the Dunkin' Friday sports scene on WILI, Coach Marty Gomez. Congratulations on your retirement, Coach.
Thank you, Keith. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Great to have you on here. I got Nick Erlinson to my left. The show is Keith and Koivisto. We usually have the Chronicles, Jan Koivisto in here, but he's on a coaching hiatus. He coaches Plainfield High School girls, so he pops in when he can on a Friday. But it's great to have you in here. I got to spend. I wish I could have finished my high school career at Lyman. I got 2 years, but you're someone that stood out to me for. You really made an impact on me. I was only there 9th and 10th grade, but you were one of the reasons. You were one of my favorite. You were a gym teacher too at one point, right? Weren't you gym teacher as well?
Oh yeah. I was AD and I was teaching when I was at Lyman. I was AD and I was teaching a couple PE classes a day, and then once I gave up AD, I went to full-time teaching PE with Chris Fabry, who was a basketball coach up there, and him and I spent my last 14 years teaching PE and coaching volleyball and coaching baseball. Yeah. And I remember you, Keith. Are you kidding me?
Well,
I remember you used to pound that. You used to pound the hardwood a little bit back in the day.
I'm glad somebody noticed because I don't think Motika.
I remember.
Coach Motika probably didn't notice, but
I remember. You were a guard. You used to handle the ball a little bit, a little pop-in shots here or there. I remember well. Yeah.
With all due respect to Coach Motika, it was he's a good coach. Don't get me wrong. He's a big baseball guy too. It was Coach Toomey and yourself that because I came in there as I said freshman and sophomore year.
Yeah.
And I wanted to play hoops. I really wanted to play hoops. And I love baseball too, but I was all about basketball. And for some reason, I couldn't believe when I got the news that I was going to be at least sitting bench varsity sophomore year. I thought that was a big deal, and I saw a little varsity action. But
I remember those teams. Dan Toomey and yourself, and I think wasn't Paul Tampson on that team?
Paul Tampson, Walt Gnezdalo, who's a former neighbor of mine. We grew up together.
Walter Gnezdalo.
Tony Franco.
Tony Franco, maybe Billy Pesci, maybe
Ryan Plez.
Plez.
Let's see. We can go right down the line. Jeez, you're bringing up. This is taking a trip down memory lane now.
Hey, listen, buddy. I know that I'm older, but you're definitely showing your age. So.
Now, I will say this, and we're going to go back to how it all started because I want to ask you that. But first, as I was saying, with all due respect, there were some great teachers, instructors, and coaches at Lyman. I said I mentioned Motika and Toomey, and of course, when you talk about the just the teachers, not just the athletic people, but you definitely you made a big impact on me. Now. We got together at a UConn football game not too long ago with Jamie Smart,
tremendous.
Billy O'Connor, and who was the other guy with us? It was O'Connor, Smart, and who was the other? It was a third.
That was it. It was just the four of us.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
It was Jamie drove, and Billy and I were in the back seat, and you were riding shotgun with Jamie out in the front. We went to a UConn football game. We had a blast.
That was a fun. That was a fun tailgate. In fact, I just texted Billy right before the show to give him a heads up that you were on. Of course, I could send him a video link later. Yeah. But I needed to get a Wyndham Tech Lyman score, and he said Wyndham Tech beat Lyman 82-33. So
Lyman. Oof.
Is that why you're retiring? The boys' team is not good. I'm kidding.
No. Yeah, boys' team looks like it's going to have some issues, but I don't know. I haven't followed them in a while. So,
all right, before we get to the current state of Lyman, take us back, because I know you told the guys the day we went to the UConn football game, you told some great stories. Tell us how you ended up at Lyman many, many moons ago.
Oh, my God, Keith. Let's see. I got to give you the short version. I started out my coaching up at Rome Catholic High School in Rome, New York, and was coaching everything up there and was varsity baseball coach. And then I went back to Springfield College where I played and was doing grad work there and was an assistant in the baseball program at Springfield. And then I was looking for a college job, and I thought I had one, but it fell through. So I was making ends meet because I was married at the time, and I was trying to make pay bills. So I was driving truck for the physical plant department. And the placement office at Springfield called me up and said, "Hey, there's a job opening as an athletic director up at Lyman Memorial High School in Lebanon." And I was like, "Where the heck is this?" So I went up for the interview and everything. And to be honest with you, when I got there, I was like, "Well, there's not much here." So I went back to my wife. I said, "Hey, I don't know. I don't think I can take that job." And she goes, "Well, you don't have anything else, and you're miserable. So why don't you?" And she's my wife's in the medical profession. She can get a job anywhere. So she goes, "Let's go for a year." So I got offered the job, and I took the job. And 40 some odd years later, it was great. So it was a great thing.
So you took that job.
That's how I got there.
You took that job thinking, okay, based on what your wife said, we'll try it for a year.
Yeah.
When did it sink in during that first year? How soon did it sink in? Like, well, I like this place. I want to stay. You know.
I'll tell you when it really sunk in, because when I got there, it was a junior senior high school. Everything, it was 7 through 12 housed in one building, where the middle school is now.
Yep.
And I was still kind of looking. I said, I doubt that we'll be here, that long. But then the next thing I know, they're making plans for a new high school. They built a new high school, what it was now. That was 1993, 92, 93. And I was involved in the process of the athletic facilities because I was ADing then. And, once the new school was built, the whole thing kind of changed. We kind of settled in. I had twins. The twins were born. It was like, my wife was, working here, and it was like, okay, this was, and Lyman got pretty big up there at that time because that's when Columbia residents had an option of sending their kids over to Lyman, and we got over somewhere between 600 and 700 students, grades 9 through 12 at that time. And so that's when it really sunk in that I'm staying here,
So you must have. I came there in, what was it, 80, 88, 89? No, wait. I was there in 86, 87. So what? Yeah. You must have started right when I was starting there, because I remember leaving there after my sophomore year going, oh, they built a new school. I probably would have stayed. Same thing. What year did you start?
I started the fall of 1984, right after Thanksgiving of 84.
So you were still very new when I was, okay, yeah.
Yeah, a couple of years when you came through. You young little whippersnapper came through. Right.
But you're right, that new school is gorgeous. It's still with the track, and really nice. It looks beautiful where it still looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place, yes. The whole the ambiance of that high school and where it sits and the outside athletic facilities, and it's just,
So 23 years AD and 38 years baseball coach, or did I mix them up?
No, that's correct. You got it.
So what now? You decided to step down at a certain point from athletic director, and who did you hand the reins over to at that point?
Scott Elliott.
Oh, that's right, Scott Elliott, of course.
It worked out great because Scott Elliott, who's the president AD now, he's been the AD there for, 18, 19 years, who does a great job. He's a great AD. But I got burnt out on athletic directing, and I was like, oh, my God, from having twins and coaching, and I just got being up to school all the time and for everything, and I burnt out. And Scott was ready because he was down at the middle school teaching PE.
Okay.
And he was ready. That was one of his goals, and we switched. I took his job down at the middle school as a middle school PE, and it really saved me because it rejuvenated me. Because all I really wanted to do, I just wanted to coach and be with kids.
Right.
So then I was a full-time PE person, and then I coached volleyball and I coached baseball, and I was happier than anything.
I forgot about volleyball. How many years you coached?
10.
10 years. Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So we're talking.
I didn't know anything about volleyball, but I was smart enough to hire assistant coaches who knew the game of volleyball. That's the honest to God's truth.
Wow.
That's the honest to God. And I just loved coaching, and the kids. I knew the kids at the time, the girls that were in the program, and they were great kids. And after I gave up AD, and the guy that was the volleyball coach moved on, and so Scott and I were talking. Scott goes, "Why don't you take over the program?" I go, "I don't know anything about volleyball." And then but I grabbed a couple of volleyball people who were assistant coaches of mine. So I turned them loose, and I love coaching, and I love the whole thing about being the head coach and the leadership part, and trying to influence kids. But that was just, I got lucky on that deal because I had great assistant coaches and I had kids that really loved to play volleyball. So yeah, that was that.
Marty Gomez with us here on the Duncan Friday Sports Scene on 14 WILI, 95.3 FM, and the WILI Radio YouTube channel. Eventually, you'll be able to watch the show later next week, or next week, probably like Monday. Sometimes it's uploaded over the weekend. I know Nick's going to jump in just a second, but I got to ask you, all your years of coaching baseball, you've had some phenomenal teams. You told some stories that day, went to the UConn football game. Yep. I know you don't want to single out one team, but that Smart O'Connor era period there, Would you say
I'm sure that character is listening because he wants to be identified as being the greatest center fielder that ever played at lineman.
All right, go ahead. Say it. Say it. Is he the greatest center fielder at lineman ever, or what?
He's one. I tell you what. There's only one position that I've always said that I could honestly say was the best that ever played at lineman, and that was the catching position. I had a lot of really good catchers. A lot of really good.
Right.
Jason played all over the place. Jason was one of the best baseball players to ever play at lineman, overall baseball. But the best solid catcher was Colton Bender, who ended up getting drafted by the
Padres. Padres,
by
right?
the Padres in the 10th round. And but outside of that, I mean, Billy O'Connor was one of the best center fielders I've ever had, if not the best. But he's definitely in the top 3 of all time.
Top 3. Is he going to be okay? Is he going to be okay? Is he going to be okay with that answer? Top 3.
Well, he's going to have to be okay with that, Keith. Or I'll slap him around. But anyways, in terms of the teams, like somebody asked me that the other day from I forget where it was because they were reminiscing, and I had a lot of really good teams. But the 93, that was the team that Billy was on. We went to the state finals. 95, 2 years later. And then the 2017 team with Colton Bender and Wyatt Sylvonen and, Corey Lazier and Joey Pishka and Chandler Magnuson. Pat Quealy, Mike. I could start naming names. I'll leave people out. And then people get mad at me for leaving them out.
We know. But
those are the 3 teams.
You've come so close to a state championship, right? You've been in the state finals 3 times, right?
3 times, yeah. Got close, yeah. But no regrets. You know.
What led to finally saying, "That's it, I'm done. I got to let it go"?
A lot of things, mostly family. Actually, I just need a break. I just need a break from coaching. I've coached a baseball team for like 43, 44 straight springs in my life. I'm not getting any younger, but I still have energy and passion to coach, and I just needed a year out to just kind of assess, am I going to coach again? Where would I coach again? Would it be high school? Would it be college? Would it be back at Lyman?
So you're leaving the door open?
Yeah, I kind of left that door open with Scott, but more than I told Scott more than likely not. But I didn't want to close the door on that. I told Scott that listen, if you find somebody that wants to make a long-term commitment, then move, baby, move on it because more than likely I'm not going to go back to Lyman. But who knows? I just didn't want to close the door, and I guess that's kind of the way we left it. Like I said, Keith, more than likely that's going to be it because I'm really looking to move in a different direction in terms of coaching. If I do coach, I might not. I might not coach again. I had a grandson in August.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah, my daughter lives up in Beacon, New York, so my wife and I go up there quite a bit, at least once a week. And I know if I had coached, she would drive up there, and I don't want her driving 3 hours, up and back. So, it was basically a family thing. I want to do some things with my wife in the springtime that we have never done in 45 years because I've always been on a baseball field. So she deserves to have me in the springtime so we can go do some stuff.
Good for you.
And that's kind of the crux of it. I needed a break, and it was time to spend more time with family.
Nick?
Hey, Coach. Having coached all those years and stuff, you're passionate about baseball, but what keeps you coming back every year?
I just love coaching. I like working with kids for sure. And I just like to. Obviously, with baseball, it's the game of baseball. I've always loved since a little kid. I've always had a passion for the game of baseball. It's been special to me. It's been really good. There's been some tough times because baseball is a really difficult game to play, and there's a lot of failure that goes in the game of baseball. It's a tough game to play. Everybody knows the game of baseball, but it's tough to play the game without failing quite a bit. But it's always been in my soul. It's been in my blood. So I've loved the game, and I love to teach the game of baseball. But then leading kids and trying to help kids do things the right way, the commitments, the discipline, the commitment to your teammates, that we do this together. I've always had this thing about how good it feels to work hard together and accomplish things together. Mm-hmm. And that aspect really motivated me to coach, and see if I could influence. I haven't always been successful with that, but that motivates me a lot.
All right, but in the last minute or so here with Coach Marty Gomez, congrats on his retirement. It sounds like he's leaving the door open. So, hey, if O'Connor gets canned at AD at Wyndham Tech, you can go be the athletic director at Wyndham Tech. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, how many? I want to know if you know this off the top of your head. How many times were you ejected in your 38 years?
You know what, Keith? I'm going to tell you right now. Okay, when I first started coaching at Lyman back in '85 or '86 was my first year. So I was the AD in '84. Rick Shea was the baseball coach at Lyman in '85, but then he gave it up, and I took it over in the spring of '86. Mm-hmm. So I don't even know how many years this was, but from '86 to maybe the mid-'90s, you could get ejected from a baseball game, and you could coach the next game.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So I don't know how many years the CIAC put in a rule that if you get ejected, you got to sit a game, and then you got to go through all the stuff of, explaining yourself, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, jeez.
So my first, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, I don't know, I maybe got ejected 5 times, maybe. Maybe 5 times.
Yeah.
But since they put that rule in, Keith, I never got ejected from a baseball game.
Wow.
From I don't know, when they put the rule in, you could look back and see when they put the rule in. I got a feeling it was mid to late 90s. I never got ejected from a baseball game after that.
Wow.
Because I didn't want to sit. And I didn't want to go into the principal's office and have to like a kindergarten and explain myself
Get your
why I got
slapped.
ejected.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
exactly. You got it.
Coach Marty Gomez, I can still call you Coach even though you're retired, but the door is open. That's like breaking news on the Duncan Friday Sports Scene. The door is open. You
more than likely it's been put to rest at Lyman, but we'll see. We will see.
Yeah, he's going to get that itch to, okay, maybe not at Lyman, we'll keep an eye on that. Hey, now that you're entering retirement, I know you did, congratulations on your grandchild, but you should definitely, you know sports, so you should come on in here and join Nick, Jan, and myself, and we'd love to have you in some Friday,
Well, shoot me a text. Tell me what you need, and if it works out, I may take a. I go up there to work out at Super Future Fitness, so you know what? I love that. I love that sauna up there. So that's one of the things it's going to be for. If I live until I'm 90 or to 100, Keith, it's going to be because I'm a sauna guy.
Big shout out to John Hansen at Super Future Fitness. So.
Absolutely. A shout out to John and Super Future Fitness for that sauna. Just keep that baby cooking.
All right. Well, you keep cooking, my friend, and I'll send you the video link. And thanks so much. Congratulations on a great career.
Hey, thanks for inviting me, Keith. It's always good talking to you. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
All right. Thanks, Marty.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good day.
All right.
All right.
Coach Marty Gomez, what a great guy. Tremendous guy. Great to have him on. And, we usually have a coach in that slot, and he's a coach. But when I found it was perfect. It's timely. I'm sorry, Nick. I kind of go way back with this guy, so we could kind of reminiscent a little. But when I found out that I'm like, I can't really get a current coach this way. Let's get coach just. This is like breaking news. He just announced the retirement a few days ago, and he's such a great guy. That day we went to the UConn football game. It was a couple years ago. It was just a blast. So congrats to and big thanks to Coach Marty Gomez for joining us here on the Duncan Friday Sports Scene. On the other side, Mark Sudol from News 12 in Norwalk, former WILI/UConn alum, will talk a little UConn men's and women's basketball here on WILI. Welcome back to the Duncan Friday Sports Scene on this January the 2nd. Happy New Year. First Duncan Friday Sports Scene of 2026. Keith C. Rice with Nick Erlinson. We're going to bring in Mark Sudol in just a sec, talk a little UConn men's and women's basketball as both men and women looking pretty good. We were just talking about off the air. I didn't see any of the game New Year's Eve. I was out to dinner, but I made sure right when I got home, I let the dogs out, and the game was already over. But I saw UConn jumped out to this huge lead, and Xavier's, hey, a road game in the Big East is tough. I don't care who you're playing, and Xavier really isn't that bad. But UConn jumped out to that huge lead, like 30-6, right?
Yeah, Xavier is always a solid team.
Xavier.
Yeah.
With like a Z. I know it's
yeah. They're always a a tough match no matter what. Yeah. You can never count them out. So thank you very much. It looked good.
Now they got Rick Pitino's son is the coach there. Yep. Rick Pitino, of course, St. John's, and that's Richard Pitino. So you got Dick and Rick.
Yep.
Dick over at Xavier and Rick at St. John's. So anyway, impressive win for the UConn men, UConn women. They just continue to roll. And I say this every week, with all due respect to the great athleticism that the women display, I can't watch an 82-28 game. I just can't. Is Mark transferred over? Or?
He's ready whenever you want.
Okay, thank you, J. Matt Rupar. Let's call you JP Matt Rupar. All right, J. Matt Rupar. Thank you very much. We got Mark Sudol, a.k.a. Ken Coleman. Let's hear. All right, wait, I got to set this up. I'm sorry?
Is this Keith Rice?
Yes. And now, before I got to set this up for my co-host Nick Erlinson and J. Matt Rupar on the other side. Mark Sudol, as I mentioned at the top of the show, is not only a WILI alum, he's a UConn alum as well, even though he's on the other side of the state now at News 12 in Norwalk, which covers southwestern Connecticut. We'll get into a little about that as well before we get into UConn. But Mark and I go back to when I was a little teenager running around this place, and Mark and I would run Red Sox games back in, we still take Red Sox baseball, but Mark and I were board operators for Red Sox games. And back in the day, the Red Sox announcers, Joe Castiglione just retired. It was Ken Coleman and Joe Castiglione. So what I'm getting at is Mark and I went to, WILI would have a Red Sox trip once a year every summer. Mark and I went on this trip, and there was a couple other WILI people with us on the bus, and it was one of the best Red Sox games I think I've ever been to, because Mark literally, I don't think I couldn't focus on the game because Mark had me laughing and sweating the whole time. I couldn't stop laughing the whole game because he kept doing the greatest Ken Coleman impersonation that we still do to this day. We send each other voice text doing Ken Coleman. So, the people who can remember Ken Coleman from back in the day, come on, I called you Joe, because when we do Ken Coleman, we call each other Joe. I had to set this up as best I could. So, Mark, come on, give us your best.
You've just alienated all your listeners.
Wouldn't be the first time. All right, so let's give us your best Ken Coleman before we get into what you do in UConn. Let's hear some Ken Coleman first.
Our guest today on the Dugout Show has been Keith Rice, and for being with us, he'll receive a gift certificate to downtown Willimantic.
Perfect, God. I mean, that was like 1980-something, and here we are in 2026, and I'm still making you do Ken Coleman. Oh, my God.
Well, I remember that game, too, because, as you said, it was a
18-6
trip.
The Tigers.
And the Red Sox beat the Tigers 18-6.
No, I think they lost. Did they get killed or something?
They got murdered, and then you had Wayne Norman and Danny Chung looking at us like, what's up with these two weirdos?
Yeah, they're looking at it like Wayne and Danny kept looking up, going, and we're laughing the whole game. We're probably sitting a couple rows behind them, I guess. And then Ken Carson, who used to be a DJ on the station, I think he was with us, wasn't he?
I think he was there as well, yeah.
Anyway, he used to laugh along when we did the Ken Coleman stuff. But Mark Sudol's with us. We know time is short. Before we get into UConn, a little about what you've been doing, how long you've been at News 12 in Norwalk, and tell us exactly what you do down there and everything.
Well, I've been at News 12 now almost 17 years. It'll be 17 years in February. And I started there doing sports, so I would go out to a lot of, local high school games, college games. We had, Fairfield U and Sacred Heart down in this neck of the woods. And after a couple of years, I turned over to the dark side and started reporting news and doing some anchoring as well. And so currently I am the morning reporter for News 12 Connecticut. So I'm in at 5 a.m. every day until 2 o'clock, and that alarm goes off pretty early in the morning.
I hear you. Oh, and your videos are hilarious. He's definitely, even if you're up here in Eastern Connecticut, you want to follow Mark Sudol, News 12. That's how they can follow you on Instagram or Facebook. And you do some great morning videos they always end with, "Let's go!"
Let's go! So we get into it. On Fridays we do a segment called Main Street Connecticut. We go out to different businesses, and it's been a great way to promote local business, and usually there's some eating involved, which is always nice. So we have a little fun with that.
Oh, he's definitely worth the follow. He may be up here in Eastern Connecticut, but look him up, Mark Sudol, News 12 on Instagram, Facebook, and your last name is what? Sudol, correct?
That's correct, Sudol.
All right, now what year did you graduate from the University of Connecticut, Mark?
Well, like Wayne Norman, I graduated in the 1900s. So now he graduated a little bit before me.
Hey, big guy could be listening easy now.
Big guy could be listening, but hey, he's a great story. Kid from California coming out here and never left. But 1988, I graduated UConn, and let me tell you what, when I was at UConn, I was a freshman in '84. These two basketball teams were not very good.
In the toilet, yeah. In fact, you graduated the year they kind of turned the corner with Calhoun in the NIT year.
That's right. I went to that NIT game. I think it was Miami of Ohio, I think they played.
No, they beat, ready? I think they beat Boston College in the semis and Ohio State in the final.
Oh, yeah, I guess it was Ohio State. So
or was it vice versa?
89.
Yeah. Yep.
And the MSG was a great atmosphere. I mean, what an exciting time.
Yeah.
And I mean, we had Dom Perno, the great Dom Perno, who would have to finish his cigarette after the game before he would do an interview with you.
That's right. Oh God.
Which was the most bizarre thing. But anyway, I digress. So when Calhoun came, just totally changed the whole face of that program. And I remember getting one of the first interviews when I worked at the campus radio station, which I think John Tewitt might be.
Yeah, 91.7 WHUS.
I got one of the first interviews with Calhoun on my sports show.
Wow.
And he was intense even in the studio.
You got Calhoun in the studio at HUS?
Yes.
Oh my God! Wow.
Don't ask me how, but and then look, he was a tough cookie. Let's face it. Talk about Hurley now. Some of these practices and stuff like that, you couldn't even watch. You want to talk about intense, and this nonsense right now on social media about Hurley and how he's too intense and he's injuring his players and these practices. I mean, slow your roll a little bit. This guy is an incredible coach. He is, I like to call him Calhoun 2.0, really, because he takes it to the next level. He's intense, but he's great to watch. He loves his players. Sometimes I watch the game just to watch him because he's so animated and into these games. And look, complain about him all you want. We almost had 3 back-to-back national champions.
That's right.
So, you got to say he's a pretty good coach.
Yeah, and looking at UConn, the UConn men in 2025-26, off to a 13-1 start, 3-0 in the Big East. And Nick Erlinson's with me. We're just talking about before we brought you in here that that game was on New Year's Eve, UConn Xavier. I was out to dinner with the wife, and I got back and saw they won pretty handily. And then I wanted to read they jumped out to a pretty impressive 30-6 start. And Xavier, I was just talking to Nick here. Any Big East game on the road is always a challenge, and Xavier's no walk in the park.
No, Xavier's no walk in the park. Look, any Big East game is going to be a challenge, and now we're into that Big East part of the schedule here now. But you might as well say that UConn kind of wiped the floor with Xavier. The freshman Brandon Mullins looks impressive, and look, Alex Caravan, as far as I'm concerned, is having the season of his life. Knowing that he's going to be going to the NBA, obviously, from here on out, and he's going to be our last little go-round with him. UConn, I'll tell you, they look really good. Now, look, you still got 2 games with St. John's. You still got 2 games with Creighton.
Very
They're
early.
both going to be tough.
Yep,
it's very early yet. Very early. Yeah.
13 threes the other night. Caravan went off, had that bad shooting slump in late last year, and you're right, he has turned it around this year. 19.7 rebounds, 4 assists the other night against Xavier. But are you a little impressed with the 13 threes the other night?
13 threes, yeah. That is impressive. And look, we know that this is what all the kids want to do. It's no more used to be you go to the basket for the slam. Now all the kids want to shoot the three, and you're 13. I'll give them credit. It's amazing.
Yeah, and solo ball. Braylon Mullins both had 17 each, and the Mullins kid. Again, it's early, but a lot of people are thinking he could be like Liam McNeely, one and done. I hope not. I mean, he's Mr. Indiana basketball, so Mr. Basketball that is in the state of Indiana. But UConn and Terrace Reed is back now after the ankle injury. So I mean, it's
solo ball looks good.
Yeah.
I mean, let's go. Come on.
There you go. There's the let's go. And you're gonna close this segment with the let's go, and we're done. But
you better believe it. Yeah.
The teamwork of UConn seems to be their what leads them into the victories recently. Do you think their unselfishness or their defense is going to be a bigger asset for them going forward? Because they had quite a few assists.
Really good question. I mean, I think their defense is going to have to be it. And let's face it. Look, I mean, over the past couple of years, this is one thing that Hurley has been preaching, because there were some moments, especially I think last season, where the defense just looked pretty shoddy. But I think the defense is going to be the key. And again, as we said, it's still a long season yet. But look, they're obviously going to be going to the tournament. I can see them going very deep into the tournament. Could I see them winning the whole thing again? Absolutely. But I think the defense is going to be the key.
Yeah, and they got Marquette coming up Sunday at Gamble, and Marquette's not the same Marquette team. I think they shouldn't have a problem with the Golden Eagles on Sunday. Would you agree?
No problem at all. Just wait though until after Marquette, and then they. Providence, DePaul. I mean, those will be fairly easy. But Villanova, a few games ahead is a team to watch. Villanova. I think is better than they have been. And as I said, Creighton and St. John's are always going to give you fits.
Yep. Watched the little Villanova DePaul New Year's Eve, too, right after the UConn game when I got home, and Nova was down at home by late. They're down by like 8 points to DePaul. It was on FS1. Villanova came back and went, yeah, but you're right. I think they got this kid... I can't remember. Oh, Lindsay. His last name is Lindsay, and he looks pretty good. And Villanova's got some good young talent. Kevin Willard taking over there. Used to be the former Seton Hall coach, I guess, back in the day.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
and
right.
Seton Hall, again, I don't know too much about them, but I heard they could be sneaky good somewhere. Seton Hall sneaking up on people. But, again, as any road, I don't care if you're playing the last place team like a DePaul or whoever, any road game in the Big East is not a pushover. I mean, you could make a case of that any year.
It has always been that way. I mean, I can think back to when I was at UConn. And let's just say it for what it is. I mean, the Big East, in my opinion anyway, is really one of the best conferences in the country. I mean, this conference for years has been competitive. I mean, look, you've consistently had 3, 4, sometimes 5, 6 teams that are nationally ranked in the tournament. It's always exciting. Games can go either way. And, I mean, it's just done so much, I think, not only for UConn, but the other Big East schools, and for really the Northeast. I mean, look, it pretty much started in Providence, I think, and has just really become a powerhouse conference.
Mark Sudol from News 12 in Norwalk, former WILI/UConn alum, joining us here on the Duncan Friday Sports Scene for a few more minutes here on WILI and the WILI Radio YouTube channel. Let's shift gears, go over to the top-ranked UConn women who, as of the other night when they beat Providence on New Year's Eve, have now won 30 straight games and continue 30 straight going back to last year. 30, yeah.
Insane.
I know, and I was just, before he brought you in, Mark, I was telling Nick, I go, with all due respect to the athleticism they show and what Gino's done there with that program, I'm a biggest sports fan as all three of us here. I can't sit down and watch an 82-30 game. I just can't. I'll check in on the score, and if it's competitive, I'm going to tune in. I'm aware of what AZ Fudd and Sarah Strong and the others are doing. But talk a little about UConn women got 10-4 Seton Hall coming in. What have your early impressions on this edition of the UConn women?
Well, I agree with what people are saying. around the country and on social media that Adley Fudd and Sarah Strong are the best 1-2 punch in women's college basketball. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. And what Gino has been able to accomplish there year after year after year is really mind-boggling if you really think about it. Again, following up on my Calhoun story, funny story about Gino. So I remember, as I said, when I came to UConn in the mid-'80s, that women's program was not very good.
Who was the coach again? Wait, who was the coach before Gino? I can't remember.
I can't even remember. But, I mean, I think they only won like a handful of games a year. I mean, it was an embarrassment.
Right.
So I remember I was doing a game for WHUS, the campus station at UConn, and I didn't have sometimes I would do the play-by-play and we'd have a color person. So I'm trying to think, it was Tim Tollikin, maybe Mike.
Who just passed away. Tim Tollikin just passed away.
Tim Tollikin, said, well, we can give you somebody. He's going to be the new UConn women's coach. His name is Gino Ariema. And I didn't know who this guy was from Adam. I knew he came from Virginia and had some success there. So that's my funny story.
Wait, he came from PA, Norristown, PA.
Meet this guy, Gino Ariema. He turns out to be one of the greatest women's basketball coaches of all time. And he wasn't a bad color analyst either, I can tell you that. But no, I mean, what he has done not only for UConn, I mean, you got to really think about this. What he has not only done for UConn, but for the state of Connecticut. Yeah. I mean, women's basketball in this state, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, you see at these games, you see it on television. They have a true fan base. And, what he's done here in building stars that have gone on to play in the WNBA, I mean, you might as well say he's kind of the father of the WNBA.
Absolutely.
He is the reason that women's basketball has become so popular. And, for ESPN and a lot of these networks to, broadcast these games and make such a big deal out of it is really amazing to think if you go back 40, 50 years ago, this never would have happened. There's no way.
Well, Mark, I wish we had more time. We're up against it, but when do we get to see Mark Sudol Let's Go up at Gamble or on People's Bank Arena, getting ready for...
You never know. You never know, and we might make an appearance there.
That's your trademark. Before we let you go, let's hear a Let's Go.
Let's go!
You got to follow this guy on social media. Mark Sudol, News 12 in Norwalk. Great to catch up, and I wish we had more time, but go Huskies.
Go Huskies, let's go, and thanks for joining us here on the Red Sox Radio Network.
Little Ken Coleman to see us out. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
See ya.
All right.
Bye.
Here he goes, Mark Sudol. Oh, God, I'll never forget going back to the 80s, that day at Fenway, man. My stomach was hurting. I'm sorry. Again, I have to apologize to Nick, a couple longtime friends. I didn't mean to, hog the interviews there, but...
It's no problem. It makes my job easier.
I love the shirt you're wearing, by the way. NCAA March Madness.
Thank you.
He's got his UConn Huskies hat. But Nick, of course, doing a great job filling in for, even when Jan's here, Nick is part of the show, always be part of the show. Duncan Friday Sports Scene here on WILI. We're just a few minutes away from J. Matt Rupar, and Homegrown comes your way every Friday at 4:05 following the Duncan Friday Sports Scene. But we usually save these last few minutes to talk a little NFL because we are coming up on playoff time. It's the final week of the regular season. Patriots play the Dolphins, and they're playing for a 1 seed. So if you're a Pats fan, you're hoping that the Chargers beat the Broncos. And I got one of my quick pick from Keith and Friends Quick Picks this week is Pats covering against the Dolphins, winning 32-17. Drake May throws a couple touchdowns, runs one in, not really going out on a limb. Next pick for this week.
Seattle beating San Francisco.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's tomorrow, too. That's the night game tomorrow. There's 2 games tomorrow.
Yep.
Panthers, Bucks, and then Seahawks, Niners.
Yeah, I think the Bucks are going to lose as well, but my pick is Seahawks.
You're picking Seahawks over the Niners. Anything off the, you got a prop or you want to throw it?
I'll say probably 27-24. I think it'll be pretty close, but I think the Seahawks will win it.
So Sam Darnold, who I finished second in the fantasy championship. Darnold could have done a little better for me, but I wasn't going to start Justin Herbert against the Texans. But yeah, Sam, got to hand it to Sam Darnold. Seattle, I mean, going for the 1 seed, right, in the NFC. I mean, who would have thought the Seattle Seahawks? So, so this time next week, we'll be breaking down the playoffs. We're getting ready for NFL playoff action, so that should be fun. Big thanks to, we got like a minute left, J. Matt Rupar.
45 seconds.
Oh, boy. All right, better wrap things up. So let's do the thank yous. Thank you to Nick Erlinson, of course. Marty Gomez, congrats on the retirement. Longtime lineman, baseball coach, and athletic director. Mark Sudol from News 12 down in Norwalk in southwestern Connecticut. J. Matt Rupar is coming up with Homegrown. Enjoy the football this weekend. It's going to be exciting talk. Hopefully we'll have some time to talk a little NFL playoffs because we really center the show around local, right now, local high school basketball. But thank you for listening. The show will be uploaded. Make sure you search WILI Radio on YouTube. Subscribe and watch the show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Happy New Year. Have a great weekend.